This podcast is brought to you by Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience for everything firearms. With over 13,000 products from over 400 top brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearms parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service, backed by fast shipping and an expert support team. Primary Arms, serving freedom since 2008. Find out more at frn.deals/PA. Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first rifle or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined, as always, by my co-hosts, Garth Over.
How we doing?
And Tyler Brockle.
Hey, everybody.
Tyler, I see you've got gloves on.
I do.
Fair.
My home prostate exams.
No, fair enough. Fair enough.
I got a whole bunch of mags to load, so I always wear just latex gloves so I can just throw the gloves away afterwards and not get a bunch of lead all over my hands.
Oh, now your lead comes after class, huh?
Well, that is nice. Well, I know that as we get going through here, we got a lot to talk about. A lot of things have happened in the past week. Did a lot of cool stuff. There's one kind of neat product that came out from a large AR manufacturer.
Ooh.
Was that the thing you sent this morning?
It is.
I want one. We'll talk about that.
It is. So, what did you guys do this week?
Man, what didn't we do this week? I drove to Pier 4 days in a row and learned that I don't want to have one of those day jobs where I got to travel back and forth. But it was fun because it was for training, and training is good. And actually, Tyler and I became NRA certified basic pistol instructors.
Yep. Good times.
Yeah. So now all three of us are actually instructors.
Yeah, that's dangerous to say. I still smile when I say I'm an instructor now. I have the responsibility that I can teach people. They kind of got to listen.
I'm bona fide.
Oh, no, Garth, you are a perfect prime example of it. They don't have to listen.
No. Yeah, that's correct, because I'm pretty sure I've taken a couple of your classes and shared with you some of the things I picked up on the class. And you're like, I taught you that 6 years ago. I'm like, I know. My bad.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did say that.
Well, you did. I mean, but again, it just goes back to you're out on the range with your buddy. Your buddy tells you some good information, and you're like, shut up, I got this. Then you hear it from someone else, and you're like, hey, that's a cool idea. And you're like, I told you that.
It's kind of like explaining things to your spouse.
Yep, pretty much. It was a good time. We did a day of, one was just a general NRA instructor class. Then one day was the actual basic pistol class that we took as students, because you gotta, should actually take
know the material
where you teach the day class. And then the last 2 days were actually the instructor portion of it. And it's always humbling, right? Because this was this was so entry level. I don't know about you, Garth, but I kind of, sometimes I struggled to explain the most simple stuff because it's something that's just been ingrained in me for years.
No, I agree 100%. Like, it was hard to explain it. I can explain it my way, but my way is not the proper way.
Yeah.
So I had to relearn the terminology.
Yeah.
And that was the big issue for me.
Yeah. So it's like our instructor, Art, it was like an example, we would be given instructions on how to properly load the pistol. And it's like insert magazine and then press the takedown lever to send the slide forward. And, he would just sit there and raise his hand and what's the takedown lever? Where is it? what exactly is the slide? And, obviously he knew, right? And we know that.
Yeah.
But the terminology we were using was if we were talking with somebody who's, shot a gun before, and you'll run into those people who haven't. And, God bless them for actually going out and getting that training. But it's weird to have to kind of remember that not everybody's where you're at.
Well, that was the weirdest thing to me is we actually might teach someone who has zero gun experience, and that's just a foreign concept to me living in South Dakota, because I assume that everyone has some type of gun experience, but I really didn't consider that they might not.
The number of people that don't would shock you.
Well, it's going to shock me. I know that.
I have picked up and held that Ruger SFAR once. The SFAR, for anyone who doesn't know, Shane asked a question in the live chat. It's a small frame AR, but it's a 308 AR that's a smaller frame than standard, so it's a lightweight. I've held one, and that's it. Other than that, I have no real experience.
Where'd you get to hold that beauty at?
Shields.
Oh,
with you.
You didn't tell me there was one there.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't.
Oh, whatever.
Because I would have held that gun.
You were looking at something else, like jerky rub.
Shocking. Squirrel.
But so to that end, where you guys were talking about people having some experience, back to what you're saying is, even when it comes so that's obviously you took a handgun course, and the number of people who've never touched a handgun is actually quite high, even in our area. To go along with that though, just last night I was, at a buddy's place, and we were having supper, and his girlfriend looked at me and started asking me, about ARs. And she goes, well, do they kick a lot? Do they do this? Was asking all these questions because she had no idea about an AR. She knew shotguns because her dad's a huge waterfowl hunter.
Yeah.
But does it kick a lot? Does it have a lot of that kickback? I'm like, no, almost none. And then all she knew,
put it up to your nose and pull the trigger.
All she knew was what she had heard on the TV. So I was sitting there and I'm like, oh no, it doesn't shoot a large bullet. It's not a large caliber. It's the bottom of the legal round for deer hunting in South Dakota.
Yeah.
And then Piper had to pipe up that she just built hers. So, but it's the number of people who, for us, and probably a lot of our listeners, guns are a large part of our life and kind of always have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even if it's not a large part, it was always just a part of your life. Because I know, Garth, like you said, you really got into shooting 12 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, but even then, high school and stuff, I was still going out and I was shooting shotgun. I was still going and shooting Henry lever actions on the farm, even if it was just 22. So, yeah, they've always been there.
Yep,
we were just poor back then and didn't buy them. We just used our dad's.
Correct.
Yeah. Because I didn't even get in until 2 years after college, and I would like people to get involved a lot sooner, and I wish I would have got involved a lot sooner, but I know why I didn't. It's freaking expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine the amount of debt I would have accumulated had I started doing this a lot earlier in life, because I'm at the point now where it's oh, we need nods.
Yeah.
It's.
I'm still getting comms set up. Just give me a little bit, okay? Jesus, fuck.
Well, I'm just looking over to my left, and I see this little plastic Menard shelf I bought 15 years ago. It's 1.5 feet wide by 1 foot deep, and that used to store all my ammunition for every gun I owned on it without bowing or breaking it. And now I'm like, oh no, I use it to hold my pizza maker downstairs. So.
See, my problem right now is I'm binge watching The Walking Dead on Netflix, and that's when Dooley texts me, and I'm just like, you know what? You're right, Dooley. I do need a Bofang ham radio. Oh, you know what? these 12 gauge
Perimeter
triple
alarms
arm that you can set up. They are pretty cool, and they are fairly cheap. And I'm just like buying shit like.
See,
I'll
now
probably never use these, but it'll be nice to have if I ever do.
I never told him about the perimeter alarms. He was the one who brought those up to me.
Yeah, that might have been TikTok. My bad.
In my defense. Like, there may have been a random, what radio do you have?
Yeah. But it's true. You need it. I mean, it's something really handy to have, and it was not expensive. You know, I got 2 of them for $100, so it's it's not like you're breaking the bank, and I get it. They're not, the level of Cingars or whatever radios, but
I've even used them for like hunting. If you're setting out coyote hunting, because these radios will plug into your active ear protection.
Yeah,
so you can have that, and if you're sitting there waiting, you can kind of visit back and forth or let people know if you're moving or something like that, especially if you're doing it at night.
I just like the idea of bridging it into my Peltors and just being able to communicate with you guys on the range.
Yeah.
So, but one thing I didn't want to say, just kind of going back to the training that we did last week. Not only was it different, like having to break down the terminology, but even though this was like the basic, put the instructor classes aside, but the handgun portion of it, even though this was a super basic class, like I felt like I learned quite a bit. And there was one really interesting thing that kind of came out that I kind of want to do a public service announcement to everybody listening, because this makes total sense, and it kind of shocked me to hear. So we had one of the guys in our class was a SWAT commander from one of the towns here in South Dakota, and him and our instructor, we all kind of started going down a legal rabbit hole with a few questions. And one thing that they said is, if you are putting any type of, I don't know how to say it, but like any type of, let's say, just profanity on your gun, such as
derogatory comment. Let's go
derogatory
with that.
comment.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. So if you have like you're fucked engraved on the lower of your rifle, or you've seen a lot of guys have been putting on the, go fuck yourself, or like the Punisher skull, or a bunch of stuff on the
dust covers.
The dust covers. That actually, the prosecutors, if you use that in self-defense, the prosecutors will actually use that to eat you alive, because it goes to show the state of mind and that you had intent to actually kill somebody. So,
or even just modifying your gun with a state shoot trigger or something of that nature, just because they can say.
Well, that's not true.
Okay.
That one I will stand hard against.
All right, that's what they were telling us, and so
I understand that.
Let it go.
A lot of people will go through this. So where a lot of what they're saying comes from, I will share the screen here.
Okay.
Because where what they're saying comes from, it wasn't a self-defense. So this is where like things get to, and things get pulled back and forth, because so several years ago, actually 5 years ago, there was a Arizona cop who used this rifle, which was his patrol rifle, to engage and kill a suspect. And if you look at the dust cover when it's down, it says "you're fucked," and that was used by the prosecution, because there was a lot of other circumstantial evidence with that because it was one of those times where he might not have been given clear commands, where one of them is yelling, "Put your hands up," and the other one is yelling, "Don't move."
Yeah.
It's all of which was you going, lay down on the ground, put your hands up, or lay down on the ground, on your knees, and so back and forth, and there's some extra movement. But he had that on his rifle, and that is where that court case came from.
Really? Okay.
Now, so that is something that does have, but that again was a on duty, like that was what he carried for work.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if someone breaks into my house and I use what I have at my disposal, then like that's one where a lawyer can argue their way in and out of that. Having it as your like work thing is one way to put a bad light on it.
Yeah.
I hear you, but either way, I think I would just refrain from doing it. Now, obviously, like I know, like Black Rain Ordinance,
make it rain,
or make it rain, let it rain, something like that.
Yeah, that one would definitely be fine. It's just like I said.
Yep, it's one of those where that one specifically is the one that they talk about, and a lot of people bring it up because it's hey, this happened, and it's a thing to look at. So then it's well, if you modify your gun at all, because it's even if you modify it with like a concealed carry gun with a modified trigger or something like that, it all depends upon how the verbiage of it is. Is it make it easier to it made it so safer for me to shoot targets.
Yeah.
It comes down to how you phrase things.
Right.
But
and the way I think, Garth, the way I understood it was because I have my 320s I sent back to Sig Sauer. They put in factory triggers at the factory. A lot of my ARs have Geisley 2-stage triggers. So the way I understood it was any factory modified or factory made trigger, you're fine. So
yeah, that's the way I understood it too.
Yep. So it's only if you're taking a trigger, like a factory trigger, out of your weapon, grinding, polishing, cutting, doing anything like that, then it becomes a liability. We're on the podcast now. It's a weapon.
The what?
I got beat up so bad because the army trains us to say weapon. We can't say gun. We have to say weapon. And now we took this NRA course, and you can't say weapon because it's a weapon,
has a negative connotation.
Connotation. Whereas in the Army, sure, we want to use it to fucking shoot you in the face.
Look at me using my big boy words.
Yes. So I could not get, like, the entire time they would say, nope, it's not a weapon. It's a
I felt like
firearm.
Stone Cold Steve Austin during one of his presentations. I just kept going, what?
Yeah. What? Yeah. And then not 5 seconds later, I'd completely forget again and call it a weapon.
He wrote it on his arm. He was looking at it like a wristwatch. He was still doing it.
Yeah. I wrote it on my arm with a yeah.
Those things happen. I know I had the same problem when I did mine years ago as well. So aside from the class and the PSA about don't put stupid shit on your rifle.
Yeah.
To go with that, I know that Garth, you and I did a little bit of extra training ring in the new year.
Sunday. It was a glorious day, actually. It was gorgeous weather.
It is. We used, we actually got to use a rather innovative product.
Yeah, we used Trigger Interactive.
What'd you guys do with it specifically? What kind of courses of fires you set up?
Well, I actually ran about 7 different courses of fire because I was out there for a little bit early or a little bit while longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I set it up for just one target. I just had a 3-target array set up, and I actually was just working on my presentation speed from the holster.
Sure.
Because I know that for some reason, when I hear the tone, like if I just use a shot timer, apparently my draw is way faster than it is when I use when I see the visual indicator.
Yep.
Because my brain is keyed into, a couple 100,000 reps of that.
Yeah.
But the same. So we did some of that, and then we just did some other, random combat drills where we had different numbers of targets exposed for different varying amounts of time. And then one thing we did that was kind of unique that I don't think Garth had ever done before.
We had never done those, and I became that guy on the range.
Yep. So we broke out the plate carriers.
Yeah.
And worked on transitions and stuff like that. And I showed Garth a couple techniques and things for like using your sling and how to move around, and kind of went through the difference of like high port and low port for with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they both are very valid ways of doing things when you're moving with a rifle. And there are times to use both. Inside of a structure, I always prefer high port. In a vehicle, I prefer low port.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we worked on transitions of swimming out of your sling, which I had never really done before. I'd practiced in my basement, but I'd never swam out of the sling itself. And I'm not saying by any means I'm an expert, but I think for a beginner, I handled myself decently.
Good.
So,
yep, and that's just one of those things where it's like, oh no, swim out of that sling. Because it was the technique is you move your support arm as though you're swimming to go around and put it outside of the sling so that it's draped just around your neck instead of around under your armpit when you're using a 2-point sling.
Yep.
I think it'd be the best way to describe that for our auditory listeners.
Yeah.
And so you can swim in and out of the sling, so you can move, like transition from side to side, or get into that high port.
And then guiding the rifle down to your hip and stuff, so you're not banging it around and then transitioning to the pistol, which I felt actually fairly comfortable doing. So.
Yep. Well, that was one of those where you do it naturally. Instead of throwing your rifle like you're a member of ZZ Top trying to get it to spin around your body.
Yeah.
Or not ZZ Top, like a punk rock band where you're whipping the guitar around. But just working on some of those basic, like moving with a plate carrier on, because
22 pounds is a big difference when you don't do it on a normal.
Yeah, it's like I am fortunate enough to have been involved in trainings where I was required to wear that stuff, to the point of, this sucks, I don't ever want to wear this again. And then you go, well, we have it, we should be training in it, because it's it's kind of second nature for some of us to move in it, because worn it so much. But if you own gear, you should train with it.
Correct.
You're going to learn a lot about that gear. I can't tell you how many times I've switched stuff around. I got this pouch placed in such a way that it interferes with my sling in a weird way, so I'm going to adjust it over one set of molly, or I'm I said, I just got this radio. I haven't put it on yet, but now I have to figure out where to put that radio on my kit so that it won't interfere with the sling, and I can still reach it, and you really don't know until you spend a day or so in it and actually operating with it.
Yep. Well, that's one where, like, you talking about the radios and where to put it on the front or on the side, or moving it around. Like, I've thought about changing up my plate carrier to do more of an admin pouch and just keep like 2 rifle mags on, and then an admin pouch, or rifle mags and a radio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, like when I went to the military shooting competitions this last year, they send the courses of fire to you in a big packet. But when you're out on the range, and given it was my first year, I I didn't have it memorized like a lot of these other guys did. So I actually had like stuff written out on note cards. Okay, for the patent pistol match, this is stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. But anyway, I had all this stuff just right in an admin pouch on my, I had the Army TAP system, so
Yep.
had my mags, but then inside there was little admin pockets, and I was able just to, sling my rifle and just pull it out, look it over real quick, make sure I knew the course of fire, stuck it back in. And so now after that, I came back and I got myself I think it was from STAC, one of their really thin admin pouches. So you can just everything right on your chest, and super handy.
Yeah, and I kind of I'm a big believer in I almost have mission specific gear.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I go shoot Army contests, I have a setup just for that.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I do too now, but at the time I didn't, so I was making it work.
Yep. But since we've gone down these couple rabbit holes and talked about the importance of training, and we've pushed through, we touched on something that's actually kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. And that is the patrol rifle.
Ooh.
So, patrol rifle, what do you think that means?
I suppose that would be what would be considered anyone's duty weapon, in a sense of the grab your gun, shit hit the fan kind of weapon.
Yeah, your everyday run of the mill one, not necessarily anything that's super specific to one mission set, but kind of a general all around purpose duty rifle.
Like you have a few guns in your safe, but that's the one you're going to go find.
Well, it's the easiest way to explain what the duty rifle is. And I hate to say theory, because it's not as much a duty rifle theory or patrol rifle theory.
Mindset.
Or it's not even a mindset. It's a thing. So, and this isn't a new concept, is the other part. The patrol rifle goes back to a Winchester 73.
Okay.
If you think about it, back in the day, lawmen, ranchers, whatever, they were out working, they had their rifle with them. And it was it's a dependable rifle with a sighting system, good for what you're probably going to be engaging. So, an M4 carbine is a duty rifle.
Yeah.
With that, well, I forget what the civilian model of the aim point, Mark 68 CCO is, but an M4 with a red dot, 100%, that is a duty rifle, or a patrol rifle rather. I kind of swap them back and forth, but that is what you would walk on. You'd go on long walks in the desert looking to pick a fight with, and those types of things. But police officers have duty or patrol rifles as well. Garth has a patrol rifle in his pickup.
Sure do.
And it might not be your one that's going to go for the end of time, but it's I have a rifle. This is going to help me, keep me safe and get rid of any vermin I have.
Yeah.
2-legged, 4-legged, whatever, and take care of that.
We've got kangaroos out here,
Tyler, do you have any thoughts on it?
I think the big thing here is just, reliability. Finding a gun that is going to work 100% of the time, no matter what you put it through, and one that fits you both ergonomically and from a weight standpoint. And there's a lot of great manufacturers in the space that have a lot of actual probably combat time, law enforcement time behind these weapons. So a lot of good options for it.
There are. And so when we get into the patrol rifle here, I know that, it was probably a year or so ago, we got into the recce rifle.
Yep, sure did.
And we were talking about recce rifles, and I'll be honest, I think everybody was at that point. Like it was kind of the hotness.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was talking about it, and it's like, oh, we got this recce rifle. I know we were talking, and Tyler and I were talking about, what's coming up on the show. And he's like, well, what's the difference between a recce rifle and a patrol rifle? And, well, the answer is they can be the same.
Yeah.
Wasn't it just the scope power, though, realistically?
Well, it can be, but, like, there
to
are...
me, it was primarily the weight. Like, I when I think recce, I think trekking long distances.
Yeah, it's a...
light, fast versus patrol, which is a little more, like you said, walk around in the desert, try and pick a fight kind of thing. Reliability, maybe a little bit heavier, maybe a little bit more capabilities, but just wanted to make sure I understood the concept there, because it could, like I said, it could be one and the same.
Well, they still can be.
Yeah.
It's, there are... You hear things thrown out like the word duty grade. And, it's, duty grade optics and duty grade this. And, well, aim point is a, air quote, duty grade optic. You would never see me buy that, the Army's CCO and put it on one of my personal rifles. And I have a fairly large sample size to look through, but like, and looking at ones from the military, I've seen them they put the worm gear in backwards on manufacturing them, and the Army doesn't send them back. It's just write a note on it saying that the adjustments are backwards on this one. And like straight up, the adjustments are backwards. Which is a fun thing to do at the range when you're going, why can't you zero? Well, and then you're like, wait.
That's on the aim points?
Yeah.
Jeez.
We've got 3 of them in the company that way. And, my old company. And it was just, they are not a super consumer-friendly company to deal with at times.
Yeah.
But then again, they're also, European, so.
Interesting.
I mean, it is where the red dot originated.
Yeah.
But I just would never own one of those optics because I don't like them.
They're nice. They're battle tested. I think they're a little big for a red dot. Personally, I think there are smaller, lighter, more compact options that are just as rugged, reliable, if not more. So, but that's just me.
Like that guy.
That guy would be an EOTech for those listening.
Yes. So when you get into things that a patrol rifle should have, like, as we talked about, it would have a sighting system that's accurate for the job that you need to do. And, that number one job is kind of always defending yourself and the things you need to defend.
I guess what's your, just kind of dig into the specifics, Garth, what is your go-to patrol rifle that you own right now?
Well, currently it is the Ruger AR-15. It sits in my pickup. It's got a Swamp Fox 1 of 10 LPVO on it, duty light, sling. So it's my, fan gun. I can take it to long range. I can turn that to 1 power and use it for close range. But I think that might change in the near future because, again, I just recently ordered a 5x Prism from Swamp Fox, and I haven't really decided what gun that's going to go on. I think I'm going to venture out and maybe get myself another SIG, I should say, M400 snake bites, and I would like to turn that into my patrol rifle just for the fact of it's a little lighter weapon. I'm not going to have as much stuff on it. Although you have held that sight in your hand, and it is a beast. So
it's a chunky girl.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I do like it. It reminds me of I used to have one of those Trigicon reflex sights, the
Yes.
large 42 millimeters, and then that was the predecessor to the Trijicon SRS.
Mm-hmm.
Very big, just like that the Swamp Fox you have, the 5x prism. So it's really nice in terms of field of view and eye relief. But at the end of the day, they're chunky bitches. Holy crap!
Although I thought about maybe
Chunky
going
boy.
that Kraken too. That Kraken is sweet.
Yeah, that Kraken is sweet.
I want to play with one of those. I have actually seen one in person. I've just seen them.
I got one. I'll.
Oh no, I saw it over there. Then didn't I?
Okay.
Yeah, you looked through one because I looked through his.
Yeah, I did. Duh. So yeah, I still liked it a lot. So yeah, decisions.
Yep. So Tyler, what about you? What's your kind of theory on what a patrol rifle should have?
I'm a really big fan of. I did a lot of research on like barrel lengths and optics and basically ranging capabilities over the last 6 months. And what I've really kind of come to conclude is I like a shorter weapon, but not too short that I lose a lot of capabilities in terms of my energy and muzzle velocity. So for me, I like to be in that 11.5 to 12.5 inch barrel. And then I do like to have the ability to do like CQB operations, which would mean an optic that would have the capability to have no magnification, but still be able to reach out to 300-400 yards, or even if it is a closer shot, just being able to enlarge the target for a more accurate shot. So that's where I like my optic to have a little bit of magnification with me as well. So LPVOs, 1x6, maybe a 1x8. Again, I when it comes to like a patrol rifle, I've had a 1x10 before. I've since switched that to more of like a coyote gun because it just gets to be a little bit too big. So, but at the same time, I've also kind of come back around to. I kind of there for a while hopped onto the LPVO train, the etched reticle train, and I got away from using EOTech's red dots just exclusively. And one thing I did really like about them that's kind of growing on me back again is I don't have that the eye relief. I guess, Dooley, I had that Swamp Fox Prism, for example, and my acquisition times were so much faster with an EOTech because I could just look through it because there was no eye relief with that non-etched reticle. So I guess what I'm trying to say is keep it light, keep it reliable, and I really like something with the ability to kind of bridge the gap between CQB operations and a little bit longer distance. So yeah, I use an LMT 12.5-inch piston with an Alcan Spectre 1x4 on it. I have since also acquired a Havoc Engineering Group Elite Piston Pistol. So again, I like to stay with the piston systems. This is an 11.5-inch barrel rifle, and it's significantly lighter than the LMT and has all kind of the same capabilities in terms of ambidextrous controls, extremely good trigger, etc. And on that one, I've actually put on a 1x6 with the Swamp Fox Kraken as an offset. So that's the first time I've had that, and I've enjoyed it quite a bit.
Do you run SBR then, or are you running pistol?
Both of those are pistol. I do have another LMT, which is a 10.5-inch SBR, but that one is pretty much exclusively for more CQB type stuff, just because it is so short. Has their PDW stock kit, which makes it even smaller, and I'm just running a Trijicon SRS, so just a red dot sight on that.
Right on. And for me, it comes down to much like cheese, rifles are mission specific. And the guy who came up with the all cheese is mission specific is still banned from SHOT Show from the last I'd heard. And, but
are we going to elaborate on this? Because I'm still not.
So we posted a video. We shared a video about it on our Facebook to talk about what happened. And a host from We Like Shooting said something on Facebook that made somebody at the company that puts on the SHOT Show, they didn't like what he said, so they just decided they were going to ban him. And for an unknown code of conduct.
Yeah, just they let it be known.
So the way I understand it is they don't know exactly what he got in trouble for. When they reached out to the company to ask, hey,
what did we do?
What did we do?
They just went, well, you said something about a High Point, and then they called High Point, who they have a sponsorship deal with.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. He didn't say anything like that's not mean. We work with them. We know them.
Yep. So then they contact do we say what the entity is that they were?
Oh, it's NSSF and then I forget the name of their trade show organizer.
Yeah.
But it's the trade show is the one who's doing all of this.
Okay. But yeah, so then they reach back out to the NSSF and say, hey, High Point didn't have an issue.
No, High Point calls the NSSF.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And so there's a lot of stuff going on with it. And if you want the full story, check out the video that we shared on Facebook.
Yep. Yeah. He gives all the information.
That'll be the easiest way.
Yep. Yeah. I just have an issue with it because, we are essentially media, right? Like, we're here to give our honest opinion on our experience with companies and their products, right? And how can you have a industry?
Well, it was someone who really loves musicals.
You're gonna have to explain that one.
That's what all of their profile says is musicals make my heart sing.
And he must have just been the Alex Jones of the gun world.
Yeah. So they just decided they didn't like Jeremy.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you know what we do like?
Oh, I've never met the guy. I think he's a fun personality to listen to.
100%.
Yep, that Jeremy is a blast, and I like Jeremy a lot. And you know what else I like?
What do you like?
VZ grips. The unique features on the AR grips of VZ grips are they are machined from a solid block of G10. G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered with mud, blood, or sweat. The 17th degree grip angle, wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, color options available as well as a shorty version. 1911 grips with extreme customizability, standard slim palm swells, thumb notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and more. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available. This coupon code is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 POD.
You know, I plugged VZ grips and trigger at the class we did and got laughed at, and I don't know why. Just because I slipped it into the presentation.
Like a pro.
Yes.
Oh,
no. So anyways, as we move on from that and we talk about, like, as I said, with rifles being mission specific.
Yeah. What's yours?
I kind of have two, depending upon what I'm doing.
Okay.
So some of the accounts I follow on the various social medias, which are mainly like YouTube and stuff like that, there's a channel called Jim's Goon Life. And amazing cinematography. Like, this cat does some of the highest quality of video I've ever seen. I actually think he used to be a pastor. I may be wrong on that, but he talks about some stuff. But he went to a kind of a medium range class, and he took a 12.7 gun.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean like 12.7 by 103, like 50 cal. I mean a 12.7 inch barreled.
Yeah.
And, it was just one of those, like, he's running that kind of intermediate length for, what Tyler and I were talking about, where it's between that 13.5 or like I have with the 11.5. But he was accurately engaging targets at 600 meters with it.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's not so much that you don't need the barrel length for accuracy. You keep the barrel length for velocity.
Yep.
And like I have a 11.5 inch gun that I absolutely love, and it's set up 11 and a
You
half.
have made me a believer in the 11.5 inch this year.
Yeah, it's 11.5 inches. It's a great recoil impulse, but of course I like it because I run a lot suppressed. So having that 11-inch gun with the can on it, I mean, if I sit it next to my 16-inch gun, they're roughly like they're comparable in height or in
Yeah.
size, and that one's hand stops and a good duty light, with tape switch, flatline fiberco sling,
Mhm.
and then this particular one has an EOTech and a magnifier. Because again, if you want to do that little bit extra when you bump up to that, pushing out for range, that 3-power magnifier makes a 300-meter shot a lot easier.
What's your thoughts on the tape switch? Some guys run them, some guys don't.
I like a tape switch because of how I set mine up. Just because I don't like the light to bang against me. So I run my
Yeah.
light on the opposite side and then run my tape switch. If you're buying a light, I will tell you to buy a Streamlight ProTac HLX. And those come with a tape switch,
Okay.
which has a momentary and a on-off.
Yes, get that 100%. Both
Because
momentary and on-off.
Yep, and I have rifle. Oh, I have the Surefire variants. I have the Streamlight variants, and I have like this one here has momentary on, and then constant on, and then you click it again for off.
Yeah.
And the pressure pad for that's just when it's held down, I am not a fan of. It's good to have, but if you're gonna put a tape switch on, put one on that has the constant.
Because your fingers will fatigue.
Yeah.
If you want it or need it on constantly and you don't have that constant switch, your fingers absolutely will fatigue.
Yep. And I put lights on almost all of my handguns. I put lights on my rifles. I put IR lights on some rifles. But so that 11.5-inch gun, it's set up like that.
Can I give an honorable mention for one of mine?
Sure.
The only reason I didn't do it is because it's not technically an AR-15, but one that I used to use quite a bit was my IWI Tavor X95. And for those of you who don't know what aren't familiar with that, it is a Israeli bullpup. It's a 16-inch barrel, and it is just a hell of a gun. I personally think that anything that the Israelis come up with, since they've been pretty much at nonstop war since the 50s, if they trust it, I trust it. But you're still getting that velocity since it is a 16-inch gun. It's basically the same length as a 12.5, 11.5-inch pistol. I don't have the specifics right on top. But the biggest thing with it, since the bullpup, the action is back towards your shoulder more, the weight of the gun is shifted back towards your body. So even though this gun is just as heavy or heavier, maybe even a little bit heavier than some ARs, the fact that the majority of the weight is shifted 4 to 6 inches closer to your body actually makes it seem a lot lighter. And then in that shorter package, especially if you have a two-point sling, you can really tuck that nicely up into your body. And I think that is just an absolute phenomenal patrol rifle. I know bullpups kind of get bad rep every once in a while, but I would absolutely trust this particular bullpup with my life.
Yep, my other, if I'm going out to do things that I know will be more ranged than CQBs, when I take a rifle out, with a 16-inch barrel, it's again set up astonishingly the same or close to the same. It has light with tape switch, a flatline fibercoat sling, the same suppressor mount as what's on my 11.5-inch gun, and the main difference between these, besides barrel length, is this one has no PVO on it.
Okay.
And that 1 to 10 LPVO, I really like it. It works well, and that's just where I'm at with it. It's one of my favorite optics.
What? Sorry, what was that?
The 1 to 10.
From who?
Swamp Fox.
Oh yeah, I do like that one quite a bit.
Again, guys, we are not sponsors of Swamp Fox, although we should be.
Well, especially with the order I put in this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I ordered for my next project, which everyone here will get very happy or very sick of hearing about.
What's that?
Oh yes, and Happy New Year to everyone as well. Thank you for that, Charlie Foxtrot. But no, so I've decided that I'm going to take a deep dive into this MPVO thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we talked about that a few shows ago too.
Yep. So I ordered a Swamp Fox 4 to 20 Warhawk.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
And then a dot to mount onto the rings, since their rings have built-in 45-degree offset.
Sure.
So I am mounting a dot and a 4 to 20, and I'm probably going to throw that on one of my 308 because I have an optic on it that I don't really care for. And then start running and testing the how I feel about having the higher magnification and running a red dot in conjunction with.
Right on. Yeah, you'll have to let us know. And actually, we do have some Swamp Fox swag to give away. So maybe when you get that in, talk about that a little bit, and we can give that away to a viewer.
Yes, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, if you also, if you just like gear, and getting giveaways, there's a company that does, it's almost like a giveaway every month.
Yeah.
And that's TacPack. And it's a monthly gear drop straight to your door. Each month, they send a new box with tons of gear. So whether you're into survival gear, knives, gun cleaning, or gun parts, TacPack always has gear for you. All codes will get, or this code will get new subscribers an additional $70 in free gear. This will ship separately from your first monthly TacPack, and it is only valid for new box subscriptions. And that code is AR-15 podcast. I actually use stuff out of the TacPack. I got one of those things that you get and you're like, what is this for? Like, when am I ever going to use this? and it was one of those like pocket chainsaw things.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Very cool.
And I actually we cut our Christmas tree down this year in the national
Use
like
that.
we got a tree tag and everything like that. So like I was like, yeah, we'll try this out. I mean, I had a regular bow saw with as well in case it wasn't gonna work. I had proper tools with as well.
Yep.
But I handed that to my 10-year-old daughter, and in like 30 seconds, she was through the tree.
Nice.
Wow.
And I was like, huh, this isn't just completely worthless. Like, this is actually kind of handy. And, I got it out of a tack pack.
Very cool. Yeah, I just put my Luth AR stock that tack pack sent on my 18-inch coyote gun. Kind of like it. Kind of like the adjustable vertical cheek. Yep. I probably I didn't know about that stock unless tack pack had sent it, so that was kind of neat.
Yep. So as we move on, guys, do we got anything else that we want to
Yeah, I want to know about this new toy that just came out.
Yeah.
So we have actually way back, almost 2 years ago, we had this company on, and that's POF, and they came out with the Tombstone.
Put it up on screen.
I will, just a second. So the POF Tombstone is a like, this is one that's either gonna, I think it's gonna come down to a love it or hate it.
Yeah.
Because, well, tactical lever actions are cool. How about one that's just made from the ground up?
I've read reviews on it already, and some people think it's ugly as sin. I like it.
I do. It's cool. I don't know if I need a 9mm lever action. I think honestly it would be more practical as a 5.56 or 7.62.
I have a lever action 5.56.
Oh yeah.
It's a Henry Long Ranger. It's fun. It's neat.
Oh yeah.
9mm. That's what I want next. That's my next gun. It's gonna happen.
It's got it has a Magpul shotgun stock on it, I think.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's badass.
Well, it sure looks like it's a Magpul stock.
I'm pretty sure it's a Magpul.
So is that thing using POF proprietary mags?
So,
because don't they have didn't they just come out with did they come out with like a
they have their POF Phoenix.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, which that had proprietary mags, I thought. So I figured those, yeah, it looks like the same mag.
Yep, it is the same mag. And I don't know that it's 100% proprietary or if it's one of those where these are our mags, but like a Scorpion mag or something like that will also work.
Sure. Okay.
That'd be cool. I don't have a Scorpion mag, or gun, but I could find one.
I mean, I know a guy.
You know a guy. You are the guy.
Yeah. I'm keeping them. I'm keeping it to AR, MP5, and MPX bags right now. I have not dove into the Scorpion mag market.
I haven't either, but you know
I
what?
offloaded all my Glock mag type stuff.
If I can have a lever action 9mm, you're damn sure I'm gonna have a lever action 9mm.
What's it retail for?
I gotta click back to.
Yeah, you guys sent me the picture, and then I didn't.
Yeah, there was no further discussion other than that's what I woke up to and went, well, I guess I just spent whatever amount of money that is.
You're gonna be looking at about $2,000.
Oh,
I'm gonna do it.
Shit.
1962 or 2097.
Ooh.
Yeah, still gonna do it.
Innovation costs money.
I've seen me spend money on dumber things.
Yep.
I once bought a 1983 Mercury.
Facts. I've ridden it.
Yeah, it was fun right up until I blew the transmission up.
On the drive home?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, well.
Oh.
Thanks.
Anyway, Garth, I'll let you buy it. I'll try it once
Okay.
you get it.
Deal.
That's a rather uncertain thing from Tyler. And do you want to keep your family and loved ones safe in these uncertain times? Are you looking for a full kit setup so you can go training just like Garth did? Or are you looking just to upgrade what you have? Then you need to look at Predator Armor. Quality American-made armor and accessories, not some cheap junk from across the Pacific. From lightweight, flexible backpack armor to full-plate carriers and plates. IFAKs that are loaded with gear to save your life. Predator Armor has it all. Use code AR-15-10 for 10% off.
Actually went snowmobiling in the Black Hills yesterday, and I had my backpack with the backpack armor from Predator Armor in it. Threw it through my gloves and some extra stuff in there, and I still really dig that backpack armor. It is light. I couldn't even tell that it was still in the bag, and I was bouncing around quite a bit doing that. So it was on my shoulders all day.
Fair enough. Well, guys, I think we're kind of winding down here to the end.
Yeah.
So, Garth, you got anything else? Anybody else that we should check out?
Oh, I mean, they can check us out on Facebook or Instagram, AR-15 Podcast, AR-15 Podcast 2.0 at gmail.com. Guys, go check out the actual Firearms Radio Network. It's firearmsradio.net. They have all our affiliate programs there, as well as just a ton of other great podcasts to go listen to. So go check all those guys out and support them as well if you have time to. And beyond that, I guess, no, I don't have anything else.
I was hoping you were going to talk about Patriot Patch.
Oh, damn, my bad.
PatriotPatch.co. Jake and the guys over there do great work. They have patches like for our live viewers that can look up and see this beautiful December patch of the month. That is, Tactical Santa. Things like, the world's greatest mouse pads that they call cleaning pads. And then, tin signs like the one behind my head. So if you want to check these things out and more, Garth, where can they find them?
Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co.
That's right. Tyler, do you got anything here before we start shutting her down?
I think I'm good.
All right. Well,
short and simple. Sorry.
That's all right. You folks out there, you stay safe and stay armed. Do you want to support the show? Subscribe and interact on social media. AR-15 Podcast on Instagram and YouTube. AR-15 Podcast on Facebook. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 at gmail.com if you just want to drop us a line. Find us online at firearmsradio.net. Click through our sponsors and support the people who support our show. Primary Arms, VZ Grips, Predator Armor, TacPack, and Patriot Patch Company.